Okay, so I kind of cut it kind of in weird. If you want, go ahead and let everybody know who I'm speaking with.
Right. Okay. I'm David Fry.
Okay, and oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
And I'm Sandy Anderson.
Okay.
Don Anderson. Jeff Banner.
Alrighty. My first question, and I think that this is actually the most important of all, and being a man of God, I have to ask you guys, how are you doing?
Well, I think we're holding up all right. We've seen a lot of great signs. Bald eagles flying right over us and stuff, and it was pretty cool.
I think we're in a pretty good place.
Yeah, I think we're holding our ground all right. I think this is the right thing to do because I don't know well, in our current situation, we actually kind of got stuck here. But the FBI, as far as now, like they won't grant us the same opportunity they gave to the very first people to all just leave peacefully. They're giving it to 3 of us out of the 4, and that we don't feel that's fair. So we're kind of waiting to see what they're going to do with him because we can't leave him behind and then they come and kill him and his wife because she's going to stay behind because she doesn't want him to go to prison. And so we're just all kind of sticking together here, hoping that the FBI will just realize that maybe we should be given some sort of leniency and all that kind of stuff. But we've talked to them; they won't give us that. The FBI won't budge at all. So we tested the seat with that, and so we're kind of just holding our ground, seeing what the rest of the people, what happens to them, and just kind of seeing how it goes.
Right.
But we're hoping the best thing that comes out of this is that the American people realize that there's a lot of corruption going on. They killed Lavoy. We didn't hear the audio yet, but a lot of what was supposed to be a peaceful thing ended up kind of being violent, and there's a lot of questions there.
Right. Are you aware that Mr. Bundy's attorneys have been trying to reach out to you?
Not the attorney, I don't think. Unless it's the person I talked to maybe earlier, but I'm not going to say his names or whatnot. But we've spoken to some sort of person. But I don't know if it's Bundy's or not. But we've heard his message. We heard his message, and he's telling us to stand down.
They haven't contacted us.
That's what the message from them is, and let me tell you, this is what was said today, and I seen this myself. We had it on the show. Mr. Bundy's attorney said that he's even willing to like FaceTime you or somehow like a Skype, or I don't know if you guys got FaceTime's an iPhone thing, but video conference with him face to face and discuss the issues. So I just wanted to pass that on. I just wanted to make sure you guys were aware of that.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't aware of that. But that's, I guess, interesting option.
Yeah. He just wanted to make sure that that you guys knew that he was offering for you to be able to, like with like a Skype or FaceTime, to be able to look each other eye to eye, so you knew he was sincere and that he was sent to speak to you on behalf of Ammon.
Right.
So I just wanted to get that message to you. So I wanted to make sure you knew that. And I do have I have one question that I have. There's been people in our show chat that have been asking about this, and I know it's going to seem really minor to you. And I was just wondering a lot. Several people have been asking about how the puppies are doing. I know it's weird, but
they're good actually. We just had a friend that was here that left. Take him with him, and we tried to give him directions to a rancher that we know in the area. He was going to drop them off there so some of our friends back home could take control of them. He couldn't find the place after he got through the checkpoint, so he just kept them with himself. They're safe with him now.
Okay, so they are off of the refuge and taken care of. Okay, yeah, there was some people that love animals.
wonderful. Thank them. Thank everybody for caring for them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They've there's a lot of people that's really had you in their thoughts, and so I just wanted to ask that.
As far as we know, that the two dogs do not have warrants.
We haven't heard any word on that.
I hear you on that. So yeah, go ahead. I know there's things that you want to get off your chest and get out there to people, and this is your time, not mine. I just kind of wanted to ask that.
Well, I'll let David talk to you. You call him first, and when he gets tired, I usually have always got plenty to say.
Right on.
Who are we speaking with again?
My name's Mike. I'm with the Watchman News.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you, Mike, for your time. We really appreciate it.
Oh, well, your time is appreciated.
Amen.
We're hoping so. We hear there's a lot of support. There comes a day you got to make the stand, what you believe in, and do the right thing. And we had Ruby Ridge and Waco, and look how that turned out. There was innocent people killed, and if we would have stopped it, if the American people would have stood up then, in the numbers that we have, we could have stopped this corruption back then. But they were too afraid, and the corruption has continued, and now we have this today. It's the same kind of deal, and if we turn ourselves in and it just goes away, well, will it be in 5 years or 10 years, it'll be another situation. The government's wrong. They have no legal authority to this land, according to the Constitution, Article 1, Section 8, Paragraph 17. So for them to issue any type of a warrant, that would make that warrant null and void, because they're not lawfully allowed to be here by the Constitution. And you can't have any law that goes against the Constitution be warranted. And for us to come here and stand up and fight for this Constitution and other people that believed in it, if we just gave up, it was all for nothing, and then Lavoy's murder would be for nothing. And, if you're going to confess that you're a patriot and true American, and you fly that flag that says, "Don't tread on me," I do, and that's every day, every hour of every day. I don't decide on Wednesday that, no, I'm not going to be a patriot today and let them abuse me. And so when does that end? I mean, it ends until you're free or you die and you meet your maker. And so if we were just to quit, it would be all for nothing. And we truly believe that God has guided us. I mean, Sandy and I'm talking for right here. I guess I can't say the other ones for sure, but we've all seen the signs. But Sandy and I's life has been intertwined. It's truly a love story. We met some 20 years ago. And it was just weird how we met. She was a teacher for my son for a while, and our paths just kept staying together there. And I was married to my second wife, and we moved to the new neighborhood, and it was around the corner from Sandy. And so we became friends and couple friends, and we had a lot of good times. And through these 20 years, a lot of things have happened, and we look back on it now that we're together, and this is what God wanted. That's why He had our paths intertwined for so long, and we just didn't notice it until He actually said, "This is the right time." And we're in true and amazing love. I've never met a more loyal person in my life than my wife, and she's so beautiful in every way, supportive.
I'll never leave your side.
And she stands up for what she believes in and doesn't falter, and that's how you get it done. And we just, from then on, we moved to Idaho to be in a state that was freer than Wisconsin, where we were from. And we've seen how God's provided our path there, and the things that we did or happened to make it possible to be there. And then we got involved in this movement, and
we knew it was right. We knew it was right. Everything fell into place as God placed us there. God puts you where you need to be when you need to be there.
Right. It's amazing. And They put you with the people you need to be with too.
And we couldn't make it without David and Jeff here. They've been so incredible and got us organized and keeping us strong, and we all share our ideas together.
No, you couldn't find finer men. I mean, and the Bundys are fine men, and the Lavoy Finnegan was a fine man, and he was a peaceful man. And these government officials that are not
following the law.
Yeah, they don't follow the supreme law. They don't believe they have any God in their hearts.
No, we didn't.
We still here? Still there?
Oh yeah, you're here.
Okay, I thought we lost you.
No, you're fine.
Okay. I just don't believe they have God in their hearts, and they couldn't kill innocent people. We don't want to kill anyone. We really just want to go home, and we offered them that. Just let us go home, and we'll take our possessions and not have any roadblocks, because this is supposed to be America, not Nazi Germany, and no arrests, and we'll just go home, and they get the refuge back, and the
Everybody
ones that
goes
are
on.
arrested should be let out, because those laws don't apply to them as either. If you've ever seen any of the classes that the Bundys have given since we've been out here, it just really grabs you and wakes you up to what the abuses that this country's endured for so long. I guess maybe now's where it starts. The can's open and all the ingredients are flowing out, and people are waking up, and they see how corrupt it is, that they actually will kill an innocent person, an unarmed innocent person, just to make their point. And like with us, it's turn yourself in, submit to our treason and tyrannical laws, or die. There is no other third option. Well, the third option would be a peaceful one, wouldn't it? Just let us go home and go on with our lives. But they're not willing to do that, and that's really sad and scary. That the only two options are, in prison. I'll probably be there the rest of my life, even though they keep telling me different. I know they lie a lot. It's either that or death. Well, that's not a good option, either one of them. And if they really wanted us to be peaceful, why wouldn't they allow for that? We haven't hurt anyone, and this felony charge is bogus. Some of the people that were here longer than me, that were here in the beginning, don't even have that charge. So how can they pin that on me? I don't get that. But
Well, and I had asked a question to the people that have been with us live today. Earlier, I asked a question, and I think it's a very good question. About these charges. Some of the people like Pete Santilli that was charged. How come, and just what you asked, how come some of the others haven't been charged? Like Brandon Curtis. He commanded a team of people to approach the FBI and essentially serve them with documents. How come he's not brought into this? How come they're just picking and choosing? But I don't have those answers. I can only ask those questions.
Well, we've had a lot of discussions about Brandon Curtis and the Idaho 3%ers, and they were going to be here. They were the buffer zone, and he actually called me today. I had been in contact with him in the beginning, and it didn't go very far. I guess he wanted us to stay outside and give us permission to come in here. And it's like, I'm a 3%er, but I'm a independent 3%er. I don't belong to the Idaho 3%. I believe you fight tyranny wherever it is, and I just couldn't bow down to his tyranny about telling me when to come and when to go. So we came directly here, but he called me today to and it was kind of like the same thing the FBI does. They try to talk to you and see how you're doing and offer your way out. And everybody says, let's fight another day. Well, we've been doing that in the past, and we're still fighting. So you got to take it to the end.
Right, and I'm not implicating him in any way or pointing a finger at him, or I have those questions. It just seems strange.
Yeah, it seems strange. And like Blaine Cooper, that was here from the beginning. Actually, Brandon Curtis told me that he has warrants for his arrest and he's hiding. But I talked to a reporter earlier today that said he's looked into it, and there is no charges for Blaine Cooper as of yet. So I don't know. I don't know I talked to Blaine. I thought he was a good guy here. I know there was a lot of rumors out there. His wife was a good person. I loved his 2 children. But, if that's true and, he's working with them or whatever, that's on him. I don't have to deal with that. The Lord will. And that's something he has to live with his whole life. And I would imagine he'd be in fear for his life for, getting these people
Well, and
in
the
trouble.
strange thing about that is that Sean's being charged for impeding a federal employee from going to their job, but we weren't here at the beginning. When they came into the refuge to begin with, there were no employees here. So by the time we got here, there definitely weren't employees here. But the point is that Blaine Cooper was there in the very beginning, and yet they're saying there's no charges against him. But yet Sean is charged with impeding the federal employee from their duties. That doesn't make any sense.
Right. And it seems like the $1 million question the last couple of days has been, where's Blaine Cooper? Nobody can figure it out.
They say he's in an undisclosed location. I wonder if it's in a witness protection program.
Well, and what I'll tell you is they have drones flying over here 24/7. You can't get out of here without them knowing that you left and where you go. So that's another thing to think about. And we know that there's been provocateurs inside the compound. Taking pictures, getting information on people, building the case against us. The FBI is very smart, and so we know they were there. We don't know exactly which ones they were. I mean, all of them. Pretty good idea on a lot of them. But, so they were there ahead of time building this case. So even the people that got out before they killed Lavoy and decided to come in, they're going to be charged as well. It's just a matter of time.
Right.
When I talked to Brandon Curtis today, I told him, I said, your life's in danger. And he said, yeah, I know, I'm aware of that. But he claims he's still in Burns in the motel room. So all I know is he gets a hot shower every night and a couple of warm meals and can watch TV, and I can't.
There's been a question I've been looking. I've been trying to avoid the chat room, but I did look over and I seen several people asking the same question, and I think this is a fair question to ask you guys. Are you aware of where Lavoy's sidearm is?
Yeah, it's in his side. He had apparently he left his main sidearms here. But the cops are saying that he still had one. Now, we don't know if that's true or not.
I've never seen him with the 9mm that they're claiming was in his pocket or something. He always carried a cowboy gun. I believe it was single action, so you'd have to pull the trigger back to fire it. Once in a while, he wore a shoulder holster, but he didn't have them guns with him. In fact, Dwayne Emer that left here with the horse, the guy in the flag and the horse, had them guns.
Okay.
And another guy came back to the refuge after this happened and wanted to get all of Lavoy's guns out of here. And Dwayne told him, I don't know where they're at. I think they're at the front gate. And he left. So he was unarmed.
Well, and the main question, we saw the video of him getting killed from that drone cam or whatever it was.
Okay.
But there was there was people saying that what it looked like him, touching his side was him touching his wound that he just got shot. They have no audio, so we can't tell if there was a shot and then he started reaching, towards that wound area, or if he was reaching toward a gun. It'd be nice to see the actual audio and hear that.
Well, there was a gentleman on YouTube. He goes by Oddbods, and he done a absolute superb job of being able to zoom in to that footage. And of course, we still don't have the sound, but he was able to zoom in on that footage, and you can see the body reactions from Lavoy And of course, I can't assert anything. I can only say that it is, in my opinion, that he was reaching out in pain. So if you haven't seen that zoomed in video and you have a way to do so, you can go right to our channel. It's in the archives, probably the second to last upload. So
What was that video guy's name?
he goes by Oddbods.
Oddbots. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Alrighty.
The FBI has the capability of enhancing that video, and making it high definition. And where's the body cam videos of the officers and the dash cam videos in the cars?
Now, I've heard there's no dash cams, but there is a high definition version that came out. I had downloaded it earlier. Revolution Radio has been playing the high definition version and doing a commentary on it. So there is a high def version out. I myself hadn't had a chance to really dig into it yet.
Okay.
Well, and if they released the witnesses that were there, there was an 18-year-old girl there that was part of a Christian singing family, and we heard that she was laying on the bottom floorboards, panicking while they put bullet holes in that truck.
120.
And
120-year-old.
we heard that Lavoy was coming down through the snowbank with his arms in the air, got shot, reached for his abdomen, got shot again, and they told him to keep his hands up. He put his hands back up, and he got shot from the back, and that's why he fell to his knees. And you see him with his hands up, and then I heard they shot him on the ground as well. And then they shot this truck up with this. And this is an 18-year-old singer that hasn't harmed anyone. A lot of lives in danger there. And then we've got conflicting reports about if it was Ryan Bundy or Ryan Payne that got shot. We had heard Ryan Payne was shot 4 times and Ryan Bundy was shot once in the arm. But we're not sure which Bundy or which Ryan they're talking about for sure. But
As far as I know, so you guys know, as far as I know, the only one that was shot was Ryan Bundy, and I think it was once in the arm. So, and I'll ask those in my chat to confirm that, and I'll let you know the answer when there's a delay. So, I'll let you know the answer when they reply.
okay. And we had heard reports that Ryan Payne was shot 4 times and was in critical but stable condition. So I don't, we don't know about that part, but.
Yeah, there was a lot of rumors that went around and are still going around. So.
Yep, that's why we want to get it all straight. There were a lot of rumors that night. That's kind of how we got left behind. Was, when Lavoy was killed, we were told that the FBI was coming here to kill all of us. So we were on high alert.
Oh yeah.
Pretty scary.
What happened was that when Lavoy was killed, it was like on Pete Santelli's live show saying like the feds are coming here next, and some people I think were saying they're coming to kill us, and that's what really went crazy is then, and then some people were saying, at that point all the women and children they left at that point, and then a couple of the guys they left, and there was still a whole bunch of people left behind at that point, but rumors were saying that the people who left just minutes earlier they were all getting arrested at the gate at the checkpoint. That's what they were saying. And so a lot of the guys and girls, there's girls at the time, there was a lot of people staying behind, saying it was better to stay behind than of course, be arrested. And everybody was scared, being charged as domestic terrorists, blah, blah, blah. So there's a lot of people staying behind. And at that point, that's when word got out that the FBI was giving people time to leave. And that's when people were still kind of skeptical, then that's when it really started breaking apart, when people started really leaving, and then the group really shriveled down. And it went down to like 10 people after like 20 people or something total. And then the 10 people that stayed behind, at that point, there was like Dwayne, Dylan, Jason Patrick, Anthony Gunner, Jason, and I think a couple other guys. But out of all those guys, a lot of them got arrested. Even though they were told that they were okay to leave, and a lot of them dropped their guns, and we watched them. They dropped their guns, left all their equipment here, and they left, thinking that they were free to go home. but that wasn't the case. A lot of them were arrested right at the gate. And so we're all still stuck here, kind of like wondering, is it better to, we don't know exactly what these people are going to be charged with later on. Like right now, the initial charge is in impeding on the federal agent's duty. But when the investigation concluded, they still haven't done the investigation yet. That's when they actually start tagging everybody. Right now that one charge is a 6-year maximum. And so by the time they tag you with all these different charges, you're looking at maybe 20 or 30 years altogether of charges. And then if you're lucky, they'll just give you half that time, right?
And then when you're done, you lose all your rights.
Yeah.
It's a federal charge, so you can't own a weapon, you can't vote. This is everything that we're fighting to keep, is our freedom. And if we give into that and lose our freedom or lose our rights, then this whole movement was for nothing.
Right, I can understand, and I did confirm, by the way, it was Ryan Bundy, and he had a minor injury in his arm, a minor. Some people are saying he's grazed, some people are saying the bullet's still in there, so, but it was Ryan Bundy, and apparently he took a shot to the arm, but he's okay.
Do you know how badly the vehicle shot up?
Again, I will refer to Oddbods, released a second video, an updated version of the video today. Now, he didn't have the HD footage to work from, but I am personally going to make sure that he gets that footage to work from. But he did an updated version of it today to where he focused more on the vehicle itself instead of Lavoy, and it was pretty evident how bad it was shot up.
Okay, because they just started shooting into a vehicle, I guess.
We heard it was an ambush. That they stopped them at a certain place that they had pre-planned to stop them at, and there were snipers in the trees.
Now this isn't the first time, or this isn't a rare case where they just start shooting up vehicles, because if you remember that Chris Dorner manhunt, you guys remember that?
Yeah, they were shooting up vehicles that didn't even match the description.
Oh,
Right. So these people, they will just shoot you up in your vehicles. I mean, they practically wake up that vehicle, it sounded like. But,
yeah.
I mean, official confirmation would be nice. But, yeah, this isn't the first time they'll wake up a vehicle. And they do it all the time. Like you said, they shot up, I think it was 2 vehicles that night. And then, this federal government, okay to just start shooting up random vehicles and random people, and if they're doing their duty, trying to do their job, throw in flashbangs and baby cribs of trying to find the drug dealer, which is the next door neighbor, that kind of shit.
Right.
I guarantee you that 18-year-old was not armed, and she's lucky to be alive. I mean, you just pull up without even knowing if they're armed or, if they're giving up or not. Crazy.
Yeah, they are all lucky to be alive. In fact, I don't know, now the FBI, they claim from their news conference that, I want to say they claim that they were using rubber bullets and some kind of sponge something. And, I don't know, I wasn't there, but I can say that there was that vehicle took a lot of shots of whatever the type of munitions was that they were shooting.
Rubber bullets don't go through steel. They're
Right.
made for knock-on. They don't penetrate steel.
And why would they be shooting at the vehicle then if they knew it wouldn't do anything to the vehicle?
Well, Lavoy got killed. Obviously, it wasn't rubber bullets.
Yeah.
If he got shot up like that, but...
Yeah, I don't really know. I don't know. There's a lot of unanswered questions, obviously, with all this.
Well, I think there's actually, believe it or not, I've seen it firsthand myself. There's actually a whole bunch of psyops, trolls, or whatever. I don't know who they work for, what they work for, but they sit there and they'll just troll and spread false information, and just to make everybody confused. And I don't know if they're really just working for the government or if they're just really just like screwed up people.
Yeah, because we were crisis actors, and this was the false flag.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Like this is all crisis acting and stuff. Like who spreads this kind of crap?
Right. And I just want to convey to you, there's a lot of people that are thinking very much about you all, and there's a lot of people asking you, for you to just, and I'm just reporting this to you, asking you to just, go home, but I'm just relaying that message because there's, you guys have a lot of support. I know you see the trolls a lot. We have them in our chat, and I was watching live the other evening when David, you got upset because of the things that were being said in your chat, and I just really want you to know that you have a lot of people out there that love you very much.
What's sad is that it's not even like the fact that there's trolls trolling. It's the fact that there's more trolls trolling than it feels like there's actual supporters. And that's the sad part. And that's how it felt like with this whole thing. It was just all these trolls are coming out, and where are most of these good people at? Like, across the nation. They weren't even watching. They don't care. I don't know. But all the trolls are certainly there. But the good people aren't, it seems. I mean, there's a lot of supporters, but there wasn't enough.
That's just like with the refuge and the mail that we would get and the silly things that people would send that were just way out there, the money that they would spend. Instead of doing something good with that money and giving it to charity, they would send us, dildos and a box of actual poop.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Someone sent a bag of poop, and then someone also sent a bag of, it was a big box of maggots, like worms or something. And when we burned it, they put shotgun shells in there, so when it was burned, they blew up, and
oh my God,
it's attempted murder almost.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, see,
right.
Now this is the first I've heard of that. That's crazy.
And they call us the crazy ones.
And we didn't want to spread that one out because when they found out that people sent us dildos, you saw how badly that got out of hand, and so we didn't want to talk anything. And that was one of the rules. No one talked about that shotgun shell shit because if we had 100 people doing that kind of, getting that crazy,
it'd be getting even more.
Yeah, it would have gotten bad. Copycat.
Right. Right. Yeah. And I do want to clear something up, just something I seen in the chat. I do want to clear something up, and I think I can clear it up rather easily by how you answer and how quickly you answer this. Of course, and I've seen the video that you released this morning about the talent release. I tried to explain to people that in another clip, I actually saw the cameraman and with a very nice camera in his hand when he actually had, I believe it was David, sign some papers. So to clear this up, and I said it earlier in the show, earlier today. Could you tell them who those people, or what entity those people were from?
Oh, I'm not quite sure what street
we
it's
just
on.
talked
It's
to
just
him.
called.
He's doing an independent documentary.
Uh-huh.
Can't remember.
He actually walked through where we have a barricade on the road. Dwayne had went out on his horse with the flag, and this reporter had walked back with him and stayed the night with us because we had, we were in fear that we were going to be dead.
We had heard that the FBI was coming in to kill us.
We were sad, angry, scared, and then we felt abandoned by people we thought were our friends that just failed and didn't even tell us anything.
Didn't even tell us that they were leaving or that we had a chance to leave.
So, it's like, oh, you're only here for yourself. We're not here for ourselves,
Right.
But there's very few people in this world like us, I guess.
I have to give it to that reporter, though. I mean, he stayed that whole night. We offered him a weapon just in case the FBI came in, and he said, "No, I'm going to stand here with my camera the whole night with you guys." And he stuck around and he filmed it all, and just it was very impressive. I mean, he could have lost his life that night because he was unarmed.
Right. Right. Yeah, that
We can get you his name because
his name is, I think it was David Bryce.
That's right, David Bryce.
Oh, okay. Well, the reason I was asking is I would have swore that in a previous video from Pete Santilli that I had saw that gentleman there at an earlier time, and they were talking about being there to film a documentary. So.
Right. Yeah. He's been here off and on documenting. This. I've seen him before. He also was at the ceremony when they're signing the end of the BLM contract. He was there filming that. And so he's been around. I've seen him around. He's been filming a lot of things.
But he needed our permission to be able to show all of that. So I mean, he can't just go in somewhere and film it and go show it to people. He needs people's permission to use that footage of them.
I think when you're actually there's different rules at play. Is when he was really up close and personal, like he was showing us and stuff. So that's why he really wanted that consent form saying that we agreed to that.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
and so that he could use our names officially too, because I don't know if if he's interviewing people, he may not use their names, but
yeah, he got our names and everything, and so that's why he wanted that.
Oh, okay. Well, that's what I figured, but I was just trying to clear that up for those that there's a lot of people that we're our agenda here at the Watchman News is the truth. That's all we do is the truth. We're not interested in.
That so much because there's so much untruth out there.
Right.
We've talked to reporters before, and then they twist and turn everything that we say, and it's just it's not even the same interview by the time it comes out.
Right, exactly. Well, this, you can be rest assured, this interview will be totally unedited, uninterrupted, or it will go up as we're doing it now.
Right. It's already going on right now, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you're going out live over YouTube on our channel.
Yeah, I started my first live feed just yesterday, and that's I know how it works. That kind of life sucks.
How many viewers do you have?
Currently we're at 375.
More than two.
I'm sorry?
Currently we're at 375.
Okay.
But that's not including. I guess there's people who stream what you're streaming too. So
yeah, I'm sure we're getting restreamed. I'm sure of that. And I was also going to tell you that the night that you were having problems with the trolls and you were kind of frustrated about that, I get mixed up if that was yesterday or day before. But I was trying to actually tell you, if you turn your chat off, just totally turn your chat off, your stream will go through better. You won't use as much bandwidth to, plus you won't have to watch the trolls.
Right, and this, I just downloaded some random app just to get this shit out, and I don't think that app has the chat off feature. I gotta find one that does.
Yeah. See, I wouldn't know how to do that from a phone. And I'm supposed to tell you that Australia and Oceania countries are watching.
Right. Yeah, we've heard Slovenia is watching too.
Wow, that's awesome.
My wife and I had a moment where we were dancing and singing a song that means a lot to us. We don't know if we'd ever get that opportunity again. And David caught us on video there. I don't know if you've seen that, but we had a lady, I think it was from Korea, that said it was heartbreaking and that would never be allowed in her country.
Yeah, hey, we want Aaron Lewis to write a song about us. We play a lot of his songs because his words really mean a lot to us, especially, what's that one?
Tangled Up?
Well, that's the one we dance to, but what's that one that plays above my house?
Yeah, I can't think of the name of it.
Okay.
It's a very patriotic song.
Uh-huh.
It's one of the popular ones. I'm sorry, I can't think of the name of it.
Oh, that's all right. There was actually somebody that wrote a song in memory of Lavoy, and it's Lavoy. I've been doing that only the last 2 days. Lavoy is like, I was saying from the beginning, I really liked that guy, just the way he spoke and the way he presented himself. But the last 2 days, I have been doing that. I guess it's sleep deprivation. I don't know.
Hey, we got that same thing. I keep calling Jeff here Mark, and Mark is our FBI negotiator, so I keep pissing Jeff off.
I keep calling Sean Chris, and he's the other FBI guy.
I think they're messing with our minds. You got some kind of voodoo on us or something.
Yeah.
Oh, it's I'm sure.
Oh, are you not sleeping because you're afraid they're coming in to kill you, or?
Oh no, absolutely not. I have been actually.
That's why we don't sleep.
I can understand that. I can really understand that. I've been trying to cover as much of this as I can. We go live, usually early afternoon, and we're live all day into the evening.
Is there any way you can hack into mainstream media and put this on their stuff, because they don't seem to want to report it, because if they don't report it, then it's not happening.
No, I don't have those abilities, but hopefully maybe
Anonymous will help us.
Yeah. We were told that the media was told to back down on the story.
Oh, really?
It's too huge. They don't want it getting out there.
Wow.
It's going to make the FBI look so bad if the word gets out there about how they're treating everybody, not just us, but this entire movement.
Right. Well, I'm sure, this has happened back, when I first started doing this sort of thing was back while Occupy Wall Street was going on. And it was the same way. You had hundreds of thousands of young adults camping out in public parks, and the mainstream media, for the most part, was nowhere to be found.
Right.
Yeah, we were watching CNN and Fox News. Well, at least I was really watching closely, and I seen them report on it a couple times. But during like the first 3 weeks of the movement, they talked about it twice, maybe, or CNN and Fox maybe twice. But it was just like some negative comment. And it was most likely just like a comment. It was like 2 paragraphs, and it was something bad about it, and that was it. And they just moved on with the political puppets arguing with each other,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so that's how they buried the coverage, is this with political puppets, the whole presidential candidate debate crap going on.
Yeah, it gets frustrating when I'm on Facebook and I'm reading all these posts
Trump.
put us and stuff, and then you see something about, when's the debate going to be on, or they're talking about Trump or Hillary or whatever, and it's like, really?
It's sad. It's sad that the American people have been asking for a change. They've been demanding. They've been trying very hard for the past many years to get things done in this country. And a lot of people trust Bush, and a lot of people trust Obama. The Republican and Democrat side, and either both sides have failed us, and everybody's expecting change.
Yep.
And so when finally someone actually, a group of people have the balls to actually make that change, Lavoy, Bundy's, they all initiated a peaceful movement. The American people hardly are there. They were busy doing other things, and it's like freedom doesn't always come at the most convenient time for everybody, but it comes. And so if you're not watching, you're going to lose that opportunity. And I feel like a lot of people lost the opportunity to at least have Lavoy alive. At least if Lavoy was still alive, or if people supported this from the beginning, Lavoy would probably still be alive. But right now, as far as I'm concerned, I don't think the movement is quite dead yet. But if the American people don't want to step up, against tyrannical government, then the revolution, this peaceful movement, whatever, will die. And I don't know what the future is going to be like. I don't know if anybody else in the future will have the balls as much as the Ammons and the Bundys and the the Lavoy and all them did. But who knows? I don't know how the future is going to be. This was a good peaceful chance. This wasn't no Baltimore riot or Ferguson riot or anything. This was probably as peaceful as you get, with guns. And it fell apart when the police started using force.
Yep, and the guns were our right to have. We were expressing our Second Amendment rights. But we are requesting, if you could get this word out for us, we'd appreciate it. But if we could get thousands and thousands of people at these blockades demanding our freedom, we would so appreciate that. I mean, just stop what you're doing and just get to those blockades and demand that we be set free.
Insist
Insist it.
Well, it's not even just us. It's like the whole movement. I've been trying to explain to the FBI is like, they're sitting here attacking us and all these people involved, and they don't realize that we are actually the symptoms of the problem. We are the symptoms that are angry, at this out of control government. And so when we try to make a movement and try to make a change, they attack all us and destroy that. But all the problem, the corrupt government still exists. And so in the future, you're always going to get more symptoms. And the symptoms aren't as always peaceful as us. The symptoms include, Ferguson riots, Baltimore riots. Those eventually, these symptoms get more violent. This was probably the most peaceful one you could get, and if you treat it, we'll treat the problem. But like I said, nobody wants to fight the government, and the feds just want to do their job, following orders.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's a very overwhelming situation. Jen's my girlfriend, by the way, and she's on the show from time to time when she feels up to speaking, and she was having a really rough time earlier. She really feels for what this whole situation brings, and Lavoy, and it's very overwhelming.
Imagine us. Imagine what we're going through.
Oh,
we need people here to stand up for us. We need people here. Please get here.
I feel like I got screwed pretty bad. I'm out here fighting for freedom and everything. And I don't know if you guys heard about all the media. They called me ISIS lover, Hitler acolyte, and actually it got to the point where there's even a Satanist. I was a Satanist out there, and so I'm here actually risking everything. I came out here with all I have, all my money, and I'm supporting the cause full-heartedly with every inch of my body and spirit. And so all these people, I'm fighting for the Constitution, and I'm being called anti-government, Satanist, a Hitler lover, ISIS lover. Even those two things were actually a joke, it's about more of a real situation of satire, but they just take it out of hand and slander you, and you get called all these things, and it's totally opposite. I'm the most probably patriotic people in America, along with all these other people that fought for their freedoms, Lavoy and all them. And so it sucks that you're being called all these things by people who probably never lifted a finger for freedom or for the Constitution. And so it just sucks to be slandered that way. It hurts your heart and spirit.
Right.
Well, we're going to stay strong because we're together. We're going to stay strong because we're doing the right thing. We're together.
There's going to be a miracle here, too. I can't tell you exactly what day. Might be tonight, might be tomorrow, maybe next month, but there is going to be a miracle because this is all in God's time and God's planning. And we've been telling people about the eagles we've seen here. I've been to this refuge 4 different times, and I don't remember ever seeing an eagle or having anyone even mention that.
Mm-mm.
And since this has happened, some of our darkest times, all of a sudden a bald eagle flies right directly over top of us. I mean, low to the ground, low above our heads so we can actually make it out and see the bald eagle so close to us. And the last 2 days I've seen probably 25.
Mm-hmm.
And they seem to appear at the moment that you need some kind of a sign to stay strong. There they are. It could be any other bird in the world.
But it's the eagle.
So, and that first night that this all happened, we had the blood moon was what, back at Christmas time?
November.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Thanksgiving, I think.
Yeah.
And we weren't supposed to have another one for a long time. Well, that night when the moon came up of all the mountains, it was blood red.
And it was full, so it was weird.
Yeah.
We weren't supposed to have a full moon that night. And it rose above the sky, and as it got higher across the sky, there was a halo around it. And as the night passed, the halo got larger and larger around it.
Oh,
And,
wow.
people say something that has something to do with weather or fog or whatever, but
it was a sign
it was
for
a
us.
shield for us.
It was a sign and a shield.
Wow. I've been kind of curious about something, and I don't know why. It's something that I've just been curious about. Your name's Sandy, right?
Correct.
Okay. I'm really bad with names, so I actually got lucky there.
That's right. I'm Hurricane Sandy. People remember it better.
How many...
You know what? That hurricane was pretty strong, and I'm doing pretty good here.
Amazing.
How many months are you along in your pregnancy?
Wow, I love that. I'm too old for that.
She's not pregnant. We saw that rumor that a couple
Oh,
people asked us.
really?
Please get home and take your baby. And
That rumor actually came from, there was another woman that was here that was pregnant, but she left. She's
Who was
gone.
that? I didn't know that.
That was Daryl's wife.
Really?
Girlfriend,
I
yeah.
didn't know that.
Yeah,
Oh,
so-
that's fantastic for them.
So they left. Yeah,
Aw.
the pregnant woman did leave. So there's nowhere else that's pregnant here. So that rumor, it doesn't need to be existent.
Oh, okay. Well, we got that straight right now then. Okay, good. Good. Yeah, I'm glad we got that cleared up because that, as you can tell,
I'd
there's a
love to
ton
have
of
Sean's baby, but that's just not in our. That's not our plan. That time's passed for us. We're too old for that. And I don't know if I want to bring a kid into this world unless we can make a change here and turn this country where our founding fathers meant for it to go. This isn't the world I'd want to bring a child into now.
Yeah, I can understand that. My girlfriend says the same thing, and I've got 3 boys. But due to our fun-loving laws and all that, I don't even get to communicate with them at this point. So, yeah, but yeah,
We're going to adopt David for our son.
yeah. I am really glad though that got cleared up. I was just curious because watching the video, you didn't look like you would have been very far along, or and I don't know
Well,
why.
they probably saw me and figured she was pregnant because I look like I'm pregnant.
He's carrying it for me.
So yeah, I mean, I can't imagine the pressure you guys are under. It's not even conceivable for me, and I have a pretty good ability to put myself in others' shoes. And wow, that's
Well, one of the things is, like, a lot of people can sit there and make all these comments, behind the computer and blah, 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 and how we act and what we say in the situations we're in. And I don't think people ever experience, fear or the absolute terror in their lives. A lot of people making these comments, people here really thought they were going to be murdered and Waco'd.
Yep.
And people, I don't think, ever actually felt that fear. And so it's easy for them to make all these stupid little comments,
Yep.
right. Well, yeah, and I watched that change myself. I got online, roughly close to about 20 years ago, and it was a totally different experience than what it is today. I mean, back then people were still respectful of one another for the most part, and it was a totally different experience than going online today. I call them, a lot of people call them too, keyboard commandos, and they can get unbelievable at times. That's for sure.
All right. You should see the amount of threats. A lot of people, they're saying that I should be raped in prison and stuff like that. They're nasty. There's a lot of nasty people out there. A lot of evil.
That's not pretty black hair, though.
Yeah, they like my black hair.
Yeah,
But it's like all it takes is for good people, or all it takes for evil to win is for good people to do nothing. And so while all these evil people are making these nasty comments and slandering our names and our agendas here, the good people are just kind of idly standing by, it seems, for the most part.
Right. And I keep seeing something in my chat, so I'm going to tell you. And we kind of touched on it earlier. What, baby?
They keep screaming.
Oh, okay. You guys are aware of the Pacific Patriot Network, right? PPN.
We've heard of them, yeah.
Okay. A lot of people are telling you to reach out to them. I do know that Brandon Curtis is like one of the founders of PPN. So they're just saying to reach out to them, to PPN.
Uh-huh.
And they're coming to
and somebody's saying that they're coming out to protest. So
Bring everybody. Bring everybody with you.
I can tell you, because I'm sure the information you're getting is a little limited. I can tell you. Well, they're gonna say all kinds of stuff. I know they've been having a rally and stuff like that, and I'm not sure what all that entails. I do know it partially entails Lavoy. I do know that who was it that put out the? Actually, it was PPN put out a call out today on their website. So just kind of letting you know that, and it might be a good idea to reach out to them.
All right, I'll definitely try.
And I mean, I'm just trying to be what kind of help I can, which is probably not too much, but other than getting, helping you guys get your voice out.
Hey, that's amazing right there.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
People know, and make sure people know this, that none of us here will have a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head.
Or anywhere.
Yeah, we believe in heaven, and suicide doesn't get you there.
No, I'm not going to agree with any of that.
What?
I personally cannot agree.
Is that right?
I think everybody has a right to do things under the right circumstances. So I will never put a limit, a flat line, because sometimes you have to bend it.
Well, myself and Sandy will not shoot ourselves.
No way.
So
Anyway.
if that report comes out of it,
If we're dead, if reports come out that we died from self-inflicted wounds, they're not true.
Right. Okay.
so
Yeah.
pass that along. And then if that comes out, make sure you clarify it.
Okay. All right.
There's something fishy there, then the FBI lied, because
We're
we
dead
should never
because they
do that.
killed us.
Yep.
Except for David Fry. I'm going to say it right now. David Fry is that exception, because I personally, I feel like it's biblically justified when those two soldiers hiding or guarding a gate, and they had word that there's a whole army coming of uncircumcised men, is what it calls them. They jumped on their own swords and said it's better than to be captured and be sodomized by these people.
Okay.
And so they committed suicide. And so I feel the same way. I would rather kill myself than go to prison and be sodomized. I do believe that.
Yeah, that's
But that's worst case scenario. I mean, if I had no other option to do that, then I would. Obviously, I'd fight back. I think personally. But if I got cornered and that was the only option, I mean, I probably would. So I don't want anybody to think my suicide was some kind of psyop or something. I personally might. So don't worry about my suicide if it comes out that way.
well, that's definitely a tough position. Your whole situation, your whole position is got to be extremely tough. Again, I have a really good ability to put myself in another's shoes, and it puts me in fear just trying to get there in your shoes. If you understand what I'm saying, it just wow. I can't imagine what it would be like.
Well, come on out and find out.
We got an extra chair here for you.
Oh, I think my chair is comfy for now.
Right.
Imagine.
Yeah.
That's the problem. I think America's just too comfortable.
Yeah.
They need to be here.
Well,
They got this going on. They got that going on. Oh, somebody else will step up to the plate for me and help these people out. But you know what? The time is now. The call is to everybody.
Everybody's kind of like letting their whole humanity and dignity be taken. Like right now, Obama passed that Obamacare, not too long ago, requiring that everybody has health insurance, right?
Mm-hmm.
And basically what he's saying is you have to insure your own existence, and you have to pay for it. And
Right.
so, they're making all this buku money just by your existence, and that's you're losing your dignity. I personally didn't get Obamacare. I'm not going to get that crap ever. I lie on my insurance, on my tax information. I straight up lie on there. I tell them I have insurance. I mean, go ahead, prove it. I don't give a shit.
You're gonna get fined.
But now that they know, now they're going to be watching. But yeah, I just lie. I never got health insurance.
Your warrant.
Here comes your warrant.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing is, if you can't afford it, you get a fine.
Right.
Right, you get fined.
Yeah.
So what day are people going to decide to stand up?
Yeah, how far along are you going to let them take your humanity, your dignity, your honor? How long is the American people going to let the government poison their kids with all these chemicals in the food supply and stuff? And how long is the government now going to let the Democrats and shit brainwash their kids, through Common Core and all this, weird stuff they're teaching in sex ed and all that stuff? Well, how long are the parents going to let the government do this to their kids? And they're just everything about humans in general. They're just going to manipulate everything.
And every time a parent does try to stand up to that and point it out, then everybody comes out and says, "Oh, they're just radicals," and they always
Shut down the narrative.
Yeah, shut down the narrative immediately.
Right. There's
More times are we going to allow Obama to go golfing? On our tax dime and all these fancy vacations. And
how many more days are we going to let Hillary still run for president, even though she's already committed felonies?
Right. She's not in jail. Why doesn't she have to go to jail and prove it? And what's her Second Amendment right?
I love that David said earlier today that how long is she going to be investigated? And is it until she becomes president and can pardon herself?
Right?
Right.
I mean, we got some real criminals out there, but it sounds like they want to kill the four of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's there's a lot of people
David
that
Ford, the sheriff out here, could have prevented all of this.
All of this.
He would have stood up and did his job.
This makes him look so
That's
bad.
one man I would not want to be. He's got to live with this for the rest of his life.
Yep.
And that's terrible.
I don't know how he sleeps at night.
No.
right.
And the judge, the corruption and the lives that are on their hand now. I mean,
Yeah.
it's all on
If we
them.
die, well, Lavoy's blood is already on their hands. But if we die, our blood is on their hands as well.
You know what's crazy is, like, the judge and all that, the courts right now, they're really, really trying hard to get the public and even the people who are part of the movement to hate us, because the judge was like, "Oh, I'm not going to release anybody until the movement's over." And so they're really trying to put more pressure on us to hurry up and leave.
Yeah.
By getting everybody else to hate us for
Yeah.
staying. And the truth of the matter is like, maybe some of them would have been released, but not definitely. Most of them are more likely going to be staying. And if not later, when they actually do the investigation, that's when they got all the charges racked up, and then you're done. So right now they're just trying to squash the movement completely, and then everything gets buried in the court system, and the media, of course, moves on to political debate.
And they're holding them hostage.
Right.
They want us out of here so they can arrest us, and the movement can die down and be real quiet, and everybody take their ridiculous punishment that they don't deserve, and they're holding them hostage.
Wow. I know I'm worried for you guys. I'm worried for your well-being, and it's a very sobering thought, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, I
wish.
know it's a very odd situation. This kind of thing doesn't happen in America very often. But we're obviously the people here. None of us were actually terrorists. This protest was definitely a better protest than going out and burning down the cities and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Breaking windows, stealing TVs, setting things
Yeah.
on fire.
That's the reason why a lot of us joined this one. A lot of people feel like they need to be a part of some kind of movement, some kind of group to get freedom, situated. And
Right.
so a lot of people joined this one because it was a peaceful one, but it wasn't a cowardly one where you're just holding cardboard signs. People actually brought guns and were willing to use them.
And express their rights.
Right, in defense, and so nobody was here to actually attack cops like you see some of these, Black Panthers running around with AK or M14s and shit, saying "kill the police, kill the pigs" or whatnot. I'm sure everybody's seen that video.
Right.
But yeah, and so like they everybody else like that, these violent people, they're getting away with all that, but yet this one that was non-violent, and since it was kind of, I don't know, it was just a threat to the national agenda, the corruption. The people didn't want to be overthrown. the evil people in power. So they viewed this as a serious threat.
The king and his court.
Right.
And look at some of them Black Panthers, that want to kill Whitey, and then all the people protesting that fry the pigs in a blanket, or
right. Yeah.
None of them got arrested, but I got caught up in my emotions the night we thought we were all dead on the live stream. We had heard that they're coming to kill us, and yeah, and the militia was coming in too, roadblocks and this and that, and I was stressed, hadn't slept, angry, sad, afraid. I said, get here no matter what. And
we heard militias were coming to save us and rescue us, and we were begging them to get here. But we had heard that they had met roadblocks and were being shot at for going through the barricades. And we were begging them to, no matter what it took, get here and save us.
Right.
I'd say support.
yeah, support.
Well,
But I think some of those words they're going to use against me for my warrant as well. And they won't take into consideration that I thought that was my last day on Earth, and these evil people were going to kill me. So
it was basically anybody that was considered a high threat. They put the warrant on everybody that they were targeted first.
Mm-hmm.
So all the hostile threat ones, the high threat ones, they're put in custody where they're sure that they won't go out and start more militias and regroup or some other stuff. But all the little peon, the underlings, they're free to leave for now, but not later. Later, when they do the investigation, find if they drove any of the vehicles, if they moved any of the equipment, then they're going to be charged for all that later on. And the little charges, every charge has got maybe a year at least. And so when you got like 10 of these things added up, they got you.
And they'll all be felonies, which takes your rights away too.
Yeah, you lose your right to vote, your right to a firearm, and basically you lost your existence. If you can't even vote and you can't even defend yourself, you lost your existence. You're just a slave, and you can't even get a good job.
Here's kind of the question I have to ask. I mean, by continuing to stay there, though, don't you think maybe you're making it worse on either yourself or maybe even on Ammon? And there's a reason why I asked that, and I put Ammon in there. And if you don't understand, I will be more than happy to explain.
Explain.
It's something that I don't think I haven't heard anybody talk about it and just be outright blunt about it. But if you guys stay out there and you are killed as a result of that, if I'm not mistaken, Ammon can be charged with that since he was the leader out there.
Okay, we don't have a choice about staying out here.
Right. This doesn't have anything to do with Ammon or any of them.
No.
This is the point where we were willing to leave, and the FBI is saying that not everybody's free to leave. And so we're not standing here as far as like on Ammon's stand or anything, but
we're not here to make a stand. We have no choice.
This is how screwed up the situation is. I was told I was free to leave, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if I'm actually really free to leave or if they're actually going to arrest me. And so technically, if I do get arrested, I'll be put in jail, and I won't be released until these two leave, right? So that's what the judge said. So technically, this stand here, like, I'm technically free to leave. But if I'm free to leave, then, like I said, then I'm not sure what charges they're coming after later. So I'm still technically a free man by being here, because later on I'm not guaranteed to be free. So this is like the weirdest group. Everybody's kind of interconnected.
It's a weird scenario that
But Hammond has nothing to do with this at this point. Because we were trying to leave, and they're just not letting us leave, and throwing out all these scenarios where it's not even a reality to leave or a good option, because their options are not solid or very sketchy.
We're not staying here just to make a statement. We have no choice but to stay.
But if they spread that news around, then the people that support Ammon will turn their backs on us because they think that we're destroying the movement. In fact, we've had one of them call us the other night and basically said our lives weren't as valuable as Ammon's, and
we should just back
out
and take the punishment. And
yeah, they keep telling us to turn ourselves in, and I guess that's the ultimate
and
statement.
deal with it in the courts. Well, the courts we know are corrupt, and this is what this is all about. Is how the corruption. So why would we put our hands into corruption? Our lives into their
What would we
corruption?
throw our fate in the hands of the people who are corrupt?
Yeah.
I don't know. And the only thing that I could offer you in that is maybe to take I don't remember his name, but Ammon's attorney, maybe take him up on that offer,
But think of this: if all right, they have a lawyer and they go into court, that lawyer should tell the judge, you have to look at Article 1, Section 8, or Paragraph 17 that states that the federal government can only own buildings that the state allows them to. Doesn't say anything about land. So they're in violation of the Constitution by having this refuge and calling it federal property. So how can they charge anyone with a federal law? It should go. It's void because it goes against the Constitution.
Right.
So any lawyer that swears on the Constitution needs to go in there and state that, and it should all be thrown out and charges dropped. But that won't happen because the judge won't allow it,
Right.
which means they don't follow the Constitution. So how do you get justice when they're both the prosecutor and the plaintiff? How do you get justice?
See, I don't know.
There is
See
none.
that's. I mean, I
they
wished I
don't-
could. I wished I could
don't
answer
think-
those questions for you and for a lot of other people. I just, I myself don't know the law like that. So
You know that the courts aren't the way out because they're the problem, not the solution.
yeah, well, I mean, I don't even know what to say there. Yeah, I mean, they're definitely.
Well, why don't we
needs,
follow the true law, but we'll follow unjust laws? They're not. They don't have any bearing over us because they're not lawful.
Right.
Like the Second Amendment shall not be infringed. So when the cities and counties and federal government pass these things where you have to have a permit, that permit is not a valid law.
It's infringing.
But people continue to go along with that.
Right.
And
It's like concealed carry. Why do you have to have a permit? That's an infringement.
See, I
it's
don't.
just part of how they control you.
Yeah, I mean, I know there's a lot of constitutional lawyers that are, speaking out. I know Chris Ann Hall is one of them that's really been speaking out, and I wish I would do anything to be able to have her speaking to you now, and.
The problem is that whether they're constitutional lawyers or not, they're not going to be heard. The courts won't allow that.
Right. I see. I've never been in that situation to as far as a constitutional situation like that to even know where to go with that.
I got a nephew that passed the bar exam, and I was quizzing him on the Constitution, and he didn't know it very well. And he goes, "Well, they don't teach us the Constitution. It's all case law." How do you get justice if they don't go by the law? Case law is from a past court, document that some judge made a ruling on that might not even been lawful. But now that they made that ruling, that becomes the law now, and then they use that in the next thing. And that's a scary scenario to me.
Right. I understand. I think you guys are in a scary scenario myself. I really don't know what else to ask. Is there anything that you really feel it's important to get out?
Yeah, where's all the Americans with that duty to resist tyranny? Where are those Americans all at?
We need them here. We need them here protesting and demanding that we be released freely.
Thomas, I think, it's Thomas Jefferson, he says, when it becomes an obligation, when the law becomes unjust, it becomes an obligation to break the law.
Right.
So at this point, when they have all these laws in place that are obviously unlawful, the main example is, I'm a big marijuana smoker, okay, I'm going to say it now, but the law says that marijuana has no medical value. Yet, if you go to the cancer.gov website, the government's website, it says that marijuana has been found to stop glioblastoma, it's like brain cancer. And so it obviously has medical value. So that law is obviously, it's not correct. So there's a lot of these laws in place that are just not right. And so you have to break those laws. Those laws were meant to be broken, but they're not right.
When tyranny becomes
Law.
rebellion becomes duty.
Yes.
There's
So
one
people
thing.
need to realize that. People need to start breaking the law. You know, all these people who got health insurance out of fear of being fined, that's ridiculous.
They need
should
to
have broke
stop
that law.
paying that.
They should have broke the law.
There's one thing that was said today, and that reminded me, and I'm passing on information to you. At the news conference today with Ammon's lawyer, there was one thing that Ammon's lawyer had said, and he was talking about how that he started had multiple phases. And he was saying that phase 1 is done. It's over, and that's why he was asking you guys to leave and just go home. And I think the exact words from before was go home, and I think he said something to the effect of hug your families. But today he was saying something about phase 1 was complete, and he was just recommending. Or really, it sounds like he's begging for you guys just to go home, and that phase 2 can start. And if I'm not mistaken, I think he was saying stuff. That's the court phase, more or less.
Yeah, to take it into the court. And
Right.
we're not. That's the problem. Again, that is the problem, not the solution.
Well,
we're not here. We're not staying here because we want to stay here.
Well, another thing is that I wasn't aware that phase 1 was turning yourself in and going to jail. I never realized that was phase 1.
No, I didn't either.
All right.
Well,
Most people thought everybody was here. You brought guns to defend. We thought people were going to defend, but in the heart of chaos, we saw the heart of men, crumble and their fear tremble, or kick in, and they fled. They couldn't hold phase 1. Phase 1 was to defend. And that was phase 1. This phase 2 crap, we never heard of this ever. This is something they just pulled out their ass now, it sounds like.
Well, and I don't.
They should have thought about that.
I'm hoping that I'm getting that right. I'm just going by my memory, so I'm hoping I'm getting that right. I'm just trying to, because I don't know how much information you guys get in as far as the news conferences and stuff. So I wanted to make sure that you heard as much as I could remember, anyway, of the news conference today. So
That just says that they still have faith in the judicial system that's corrupt.
Yeah.
If they followed the law in the first place, this refuge wouldn't be here, and we wouldn't be here. But they didn't, so we have to fight the law. And the people that are making these laws up, they're corrupt. So then you're going to go into their court system, justice. And I know Ammon wants us to go home because he values our life. They're great people. He don't want to see us die. We're not doing it to be martyrs. We just can't go home. I mean, these 3 could go home, but they don't want to go home.
And then that's not even the case. It's like we can go home, but for how long? Until we're caught for whatever other bullshit they might have on us, until they do the investigation. So this whole go home thing is just nothing more than let's get everybody separated and feeling safe at their home. But when we conclude the investigation, that's when we come in and grab them. That's what they're doing.
Right.
I'm not leaving my husband, period. I don't care if I can go home and be safe forever. I'm not leaving my husband's side.
okay, I can respect that. Well, I really don't know what to ask. And the only thing that I personally ask, just because I care about everybody, if you would, just please reach out to that. I wished I knew his name. I don't know his name off the top of my head. The gentleman that is representing Ammon, and said that he would, video conference with you so you knew that it was him or whatever, and everything was I'm sincere, or I can't remember the words exactly that he used, but that's really that. I don't know. I don't want to see you guys get hurt. I really don't want to see you guys
Thank you.
get hurt. I think
Well,
everybody.
then pressure the FBI to release us, because they're going to kill us over what they say because we stopped federal employees from doing their job when there was none here in the first place. You know, why do people accept that would be okay? You know, force let us out. If hundreds of thousands of people showed up at each gate and said, you know, we're demanding you back down and leave, and we're going in there to rescue these people, would they shoot them all? Or would they back down? I mean, there's power in numbers. We the people have the power, and it's our
They
duty.
just need to use it.
It's our duty to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Not just our right, our duty. So I sure hope there's other Americans that realize that.
And the scary thing is as of right now, the justice system has shown that, you know, only if you have power in numbers can you break the law, is what they're showing. You know, all these Ferguson rioters, the Baltimore rioters. You know, the governor was saying that they're just expressing their emotions, and she was basically saying just kind of let them do their thing. Don't have any kind of military call upon them. Just kind of let them finish it off. And so a lot of those people, most of those people, they got to go home and never press charges against them simply because there was just too many of them. Is that the message that America wants, is that criminals can get away with doing things if they have power in numbers?
And they destroyed things.
Yeah, and they destroy things. And the people here, you know, just because, you know, we were here for the Constitution, and we didn't have the people to support. And it was for a good reason, yet they can hammer us all because there was just few of us.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I don't know what I haven't even been really able to look at my personal social media to see what people are saying or what's going on. I've been trying just to cover everything, you know, as it happens. I mean, I'm just trying to go at an angle that's totally unbiased, totally, you know, just to bring the news to people, you know, and
right. And to let you know, when I talked to the FBI guy today, he sounded really pissed, and it sounded like they're about to use force and probably kill us or something. So I just want to let you know that.
Well,
They promised us that they wouldn't do that.
So if they do, they double-cross us.
Well,
If they promised they wouldn't.
I hope that everything can come out, you know, a peaceful resolution. You guys have no idea how much I hope for that. You know?
Oh, yeah, and we asked for it from the feds. We're like, hey, just let us all go home. And every single one of us, let us just all go home. They want to show their power, and they want to let this one guy just drop the charges on this one guy, and everybody here gets to go home. And they can't do that. So they don't want they can't even make a peaceful resolution happen because they don't want to cave in just a little bit to people's demands. They just want to show their authority off and slam people with a hammer. That's the people who are in control. They talk about peaceful resolution under their terms, but if it doesn't work, they're not going to use peaceful resolution. They're going to kill you.
Well, and that's why I'm asking, you know, and I'm just asking for me, you know, about contacting that gentleman. I could look his name up if you wanted me to, but I don't remember his name off the top of my head.
Well, and unless he's going to get us out of here safely, as we've asked, he's really of no use.
It's a waste of battery.
Yeah.
Well,
We need to be
I'm not
looking at
sure.
ways out of here.
I can't tell you that he can't do that. I can't tell you that he can do that. What I can tell you is from what I understand, he's a very good attorney, you know, and I would believe he would be a very good attorney if you know.
Okay, but we're not leaving this into the court's hands. That's the thing.
But they even mentioned to me that, you know, they quite possibly, because, you know, I haven't hurt anyone or haven't been violent, you know, if I was to leave right away, that, you know, they probably would get the charges down. I might even walk away with probation.
Right.
But yet I have a felony, so I still lose rights. And just having probation makes you feel good, but I know other people that have taken federal felony deals, and they said they'd never wish they would have done it because it destroyed their life. And just something that I can't do.
Well, and that's why they, you know, that's.
And this
That's
and
just,
this guy's
you know,
so determined to stay here. I can't leave him behind and watch him be slaughtered I'd rather stand by his side and see it to the end. So I personally tried making demands with the FBI. How about just drop the charges on Sean and everybody can leave. If us 3 people here doesn't have that charge, why not just drop the charge on Sean and let us all just go together and get out of here? But that's the most peaceful resolution, But they can't do it. They just don't want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I really don't. I don't know. It's a tough call. I mean, I would say it would at least be worth reaching out. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to see anybody get hurt.
Yeah, neither do I. I don't want to see any more people die. Lavoy, I was his little camera guy there for a little bit, doing all his camera uploads. And so I got to talk with him, and I talked with him a lot. And he was a really cool guy, and now he's gone. And so it feels weird. You're just talking to this guy this morning, and then at that night you hear he's dead. It's a really strange feeling.
Yeah, and I
So my
understand.
mind's kind of boggled too right now. It's like they killed in my opinion, they killed a really good guy.
Really
And
good man.
and so
Amazing man.
yeah, and so I'm really upset right now with the police.
And we actually did some security for Lavoy one night, and we were at a meeting, and he was pretty upset about the way some of the ranchers were responding, and he actually had to walk outside just to calm down. He says, I had to get out of there. I hate cowards. Now, do you really think that he would want us to just back down and give ourselves up and not continue this fight?
Right.
He hated.
If everybody did stay, for example, if everybody just stayed, all the 20, 30, 40 people, however many it was, there's a lot of people. I never got to even count how many there was, but if everybody just stayed, this situation would be a little bit more different than it would be now. The feds coming in and wacoing everybody. That's a serious choice to show to the American people when you just want to use force and whack someone out, a whole group out.
Mm-hmm.
But it's
Right.
easier for them to whack 4.
Just to quiet them down, just to shut them down.
Kill the cause. You kill the cause.
Yep. Kill the people. You kill the cause.
Right. I'm going to need to wrap up because apparently somebody's posting personal information and stuff for us, and so I need to kind of get on that. So,
Roger.
anyway, that's probably my biggest thing. Just try to reach out to that attorney. By the way, I did look up his name, and his name is Michael Arnold.
Michael Arnold, okay.
Michael Arnold. So please at least reach out and see what he's got to say.
Could you and possibly some of your listeners reach out to the FBI and tell them to let us go without any charges?
Well, that's up to them. You just spoke to them as you did me, so.
Right.
So
Yeah, people need to speak all the good people need to speak their voices. All the bad people have been, and been doing that for the longest time, but the good people, it seems like the good people have yet to show their voice yet. I know there's a lot of good people out there, and I haven't seen the numbers, so we need the good people starting to speak out.
right, I can
Good
understand
people
that.
are always the ones who are too scared to speak out. Well, now is the time to use that voice.
Right. Okay, well, hopefully you've got your message out, and I just wish the best for everybody.
Definitely, same here. We hope the best for America, too. This is a thing about America. America's path is going on a dark path, so we need to hope for the best for everybody.
Right. Okay, well, like I said, we wish you the best of luck, and we just hope that everybody can come to this peacefully, and so.
Right.
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. You guys, you try to enjoy your evening for as much as that's worth.
Sounds good. You too. Have a good one.
Okay. Bye bye.
Great.
Bye-bye.